Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Microphone on? The microphone's on. How are we doing? Sam here, live on United People's TV on Tuesday, the 19th of October, as I am Monday to Friday. And I'm here to talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer again. Who'd have thunk it? There is no other talking point at United right now. There is no point talking about anything else. Sorry, apart from Aaron's birthday in the comments. That's caught my eye straight away. Good, happy birthday to you, Aaron. But we need to talk about Solskjaer in a bit more detail. I've been doing quite a bit of content recently, quite a few videos. Yesterday, we had our live stream chat yesterday morning. It was going on for like an hour and 10 minutes. No doubt this is going to be another long one. Then I did a video in the afternoon where I'll be honest, I was pissed off with everything that was going on. And I did a video saying, look, don't have such short-term memories to forget where we were a few years ago and the sort of feelings we all had towards Manchester United under Mourinho. I'm happy I did that. I'll be honest, the video did not do very well. Let's be honest. The comments were massively split. There was nearly as many dislikes on the video as there was likes. So obviously not every one of you shares my opinion. But as you can see from down here, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is 100% safe in his job right now. That is what we're seeing from absolutely every single source. It's not just one. What we're looking at here is it's not a briefing as such. It's just that everybody's sources inside the club are all saying the same thing. You've got James Ducker from The Telegraph here. Solskjaer retains Manchester United's complete backing despite troubling results. It's understood the board have privately backed Solskjaer and made it clear they still have complete faith in him moving forward. Solskjaer is desperate to turn the tide and recognises the need to return to winning ways quickly. The Glazers and Woodward, are refusing to panic. Fuck the Glazers as well. It's not just James Ducker. We move on here. Jason Burt from The Telegraph as well. We move on to The Times. Paul Hurst from The Times. We move on from him. We go down to Andy Mitten from The Athletic. We move on from Andy Mitten. We go to Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic. We move on from Laurie Whitwell. We move on to Adam Crafton from The Athletic. And we move on from him. We move on to Gary Neville. Last night on Monday Night Football, all saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is 100% safe. Now, I want to know what you think about that in the comments below. I made my opinion on that a little bit clear yesterday. History will tell you that seeing a manager is 100% safe inside the press rarely means it. We saw it before Van Gaal was sacked. We saw it before Mourinho was sacked. But there seems to be a real bit of strength behind this one. I don't know whether it's because, journalists are asking a bit more after what happened at the weekend. But Solskjaer just seems to have 100% backing. My personal opinion on that is that, nah. There's no way it's 100% at this point. 100% is a guarantee. 100% is an absolute guarantee. There's no way that Solskjaer is 100% safe in that job. Jurgen Klopp, he's 100% safe in his job right now. Thomas Tuchel, he's 100% safe in his job right now. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for the life of me, I can't say. I can see in the comments there, Victorim, you're saying it, or you're saying it as well. Plenty of you are saying it. I just can't see how he's 100% safe. And Gary Neville went one step further. I mean, obviously you watched it. I mean, what else are you going to be doing last night at 9 p.m? I quite liked it, actually. I did more of a quick reaction video on Neville and what Carragher and Neville said on Monday Night Football. Did you like it? Would you like me to do more of them? Let me know in the comments below. But Gary Neville said this. Let me see if I can pull the video up for you. He said one thing in particular that sort of caught my eye, I suppose. I'm not going to go full screen because I don't want to get shut down by the old Sky Sports. You know what I mean? Right, let's see.
With the squad that's been assembled, and the fact he's been in the job now 2.5, nearly 3 years, 100%. But the club are not going to change him, and the club are going to stick with him to the end of the season. My view would be, he's not. I agree with Jim. It's not the right time to discuss it now. I've got Manchester United fans on my social media timeline all the time saying, "Gary, he's your mate. You won't call him out." No, I won't. I won't call Steve Keane out or Arsene Wenger at Arsenal. I'm not going to come on this show 11 years later and ask for the manager to be sacked. It's never going to happen.
My quick question here for you in the comments is, what's your opinion on what Gary's saying? Do you feel Gary's undermining his undermining himself given what's going on with Salford City. It's a sort of point of concern I'm seeing raised by a lot of United fans saying, look, Gary, you can't say one thing with Solskjaer and then go and do something completely different with Salford. You're sort of hypocritical of yourself. And they're also saying that how comes Gary can't call out his mate? I'm not surprised about that. It's almost impossible, I would say, for an ex-footballer who stayed at a certain club just an ex-footballer to be impartial. The whole point of being a footballer is you belong to a club and you belong to the beliefs of that club. And then Gary, because he stayed at United for his whole career, it's a little bit deeper with him. So I'm not surprised that Gary won't call Solskjaer out. And for a lot of you, that's a massive fucking problem. I'm going to go down to the comments here and see what you're saying. Mac1, you're saying, but would you call out your mate? Absolutely no chance. I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. I'm not here punching Gary in the face here, but it's all right. I'm just reflecting what I'm seeing everywhere. You know what I feel. That video, it's very hard to articulate exactly what you feel in a live video. It's good. Lives are great. I love the interaction of live videos. I love answering your comments, reacting to your comments, you firing in your super chats, whoop, whoop, supporting the channel. As you can see, look, got a little Old Trafford M16 sign going up there. Going to get a nice logo put up there in that big empty white space. I've got a little pin board over there for when stuff starts firing through in the PO box. As I said, any money that's coming into the channel, I'm putting it back in. I'm not lying. But I've had a couple of pints. Thank you very much. But also saying, I saw your comment up here saying he is 100% safe until he's fired. It's kind of a fair point, really. Ronaldo, Varane, and Pogba want Zidane at United, says Ralph. If you've got their the numbers of those three lads, do you want to pass them over to me? I'd love to drop a message to them as well, seeing as you're speaking to them. People are deluded. They think Conte and Zidane are actual solutions, says Yashika. I'm not going to particularly say or comment much on Zidane or Conte at this point in time. Although saying that, I've already said that Conte would be an absolute abomination. Yeah, Conte dominated it with Serie A last year, but Conte just not for me, man, not for me. And I don't have to explain that opinion yet. Jonathan, you're saying it's not a problem if a pundit doesn't call him out. He can just say what he wants, just like you can. Yeah, I can say what I want. Although, according to the comments in that video yesterday, I cannot say what I want. Although, it's not that I'm calling out other people for saying what they want. I was calling out people yesterday because there's a red mist. There's a massive red mist coming off across the eyes of a lot of United fans who are just seeing these last 7 games, just seeing this season, and just running at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with a pitchfork. And I'm like, hold the fuck on. What are you doing? Even if you're Ole out, you don't run at him with a pitchfork. It's different. And I know it's a... Look, Andy Mitten did a good article today. I'm going to pull this one up now. I'm going to run through this as well at some point. Saying Solskjaer is a Manchester United legend, but he's not above criticism from fans. Nobody should be. Nobody ever should be. They hate that it has come to this. Yeah, it's true. If I go down here, there was a bit that sort of I wanted to speak about right there. As I said, that's what I always do. I go through the articles and I highlight the important parts for you, so you don't have to. God, I'm good. That's worth a drop. That's worth a like on the video. Come on. It's not unfair to judge a manager after almost 3 years, and fans are doing that. It may pit the heart against the head. And I would say, of everything that's happened post Fergie, this is the period where I am most torn. With Mourinho, from day one, it was just praying and hoping that Jose didn't turn up. You're going, you know what? Maybe he'll be different at United. Maybe he won't implode and cause a civil war and then fuck off. No, he won't do that. He'll be different at United. He loves United. He's different at United. It wasn't different. And the whole way through that Mourinho period, I feared it was coming, and it came. With Van Gaal, I was just elated that Moyes had gone, and the Netherlands had just finished third at the World Cup unexpectedly. Van Persie was there. You you can understand the excitement of what Van Gaal could bring to Manchester United. Little did I know just how monotonous and frustrating Van Gaal's football was. And when Van Gaal left, it wasn't a personal thing with Van Gaal. It was just that the performances didn't match United's expectations. Very much we were angry with it because of the United way. And David Moyes was just an absolute implosion from day one. But with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's the most torn I've ever been, because there is a substantial part of my heart that's so desperate for success with Solskjaer, because it must be incredible. As good as it was having Guardiola as Barcelona's manager, it must have been even more incredible for the fact that he was their player and a player that all the fans had an affinity with coming through. And that must have just been incredible for them. And I wanted that with Solskjaer at Manchester United. I still do, but yeah, I've reached a point now where I seriously question whether that can ever come. And I suppose this week will tell everything, right? I've said it all along that we all knew it, right? We all knew these next 10 games were the acid test for Solskjaer. And by that, I mean, it's one where you simply cannot fail. And at the first hurdle, we didn't just fall. We ran backwards from the starting line. So we're further back than where we were after the international break. And that was a low point. So United have got Atalanta and Liverpool this week. And Gary there, he was speaking. I'll pull it up actually, because I was watching the Gary Neville's Instagram live after he did Monday Night Football. And I recorded a bit of it because I'm good like that. And I put it on the old Twitterati. If you don't follow me, well, there's two accounts in there, but the United People's TV account is at United People's TV. You can check that out. And the Gary Neville, I'll bring that up in a sec, but there's a comment here flying in from Gungshi, which I will definitely read out. Thank you very much, buddy. Let's see what you got to say. Sam, nobody likes to criticise a mate. But for me, Manchester United comes first. And when looking at our problems, you need to be objective. If you always take your mate's side and ignore reality, problems will never be solved. And Gungshi, I think, well, you've hit the nail on the head there, and you've hit the nail on the head as to why it's so difficult to be a pundit. Because you will always come in these situations at these times where, it's your friend in the firing line. What do? Do you change your own style as a pundit? Do you retract? Gary Neville is, in my opinion, struggling with it. And I can't blame him. This is not me saying he's a shit pundit, because he's not a shit pundit. I think Gary Neville is one of the best pundits that there's ever been. Hands down. But Gary Neville, I would say, is firmly like I am. He sat on that fence and he's got the post rammed up his arse. It's very difficult with Solskjaer right now, because not only like me and my split between my heart and my head, but he's played with Solskjaer. He's worked with Solskjaer. He knows Solskjaer as a close friend. So I can understand why and how Gary Neville is struggling with this current situation. But this is what Gary said. So I was speaking about, as you can see down here, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer remains 100% safe. That's what we're seeing from everywhere. James Ducker, Paul Hurst, Andy Mitten, every single reliable journalist inside the UK press, all saying the same thing. And Fabrizio saying the same thing as well, completely. He has 100% support. So Solskjaer is not, his job isn't at risk right now. But in your opinion, does that change if we don't get the right results against Atalanta and Liverpool? And that's why I wanted to pull up this little bit from Gary Neville's Instagram live, where he was speaking about that. Let me pull it up here for you, go full screen.
The performances in the last few weeks, I don't think have been an improvement on last season. And with this squad, that can't happen. So, look, big week, Atalanta Wednesday, tough game, and Liverpool Sunday. So, do you think there's any way it could get untenable? I've said before that they should be thinking about getting rid of the manager right now. That maybe something they should look at the end of the season. I don't think anything right now. But I remember Roy Hodgson at Liverpool, and Ollie's doing a lot better than what Roy was doing at Liverpool. But Liverpool aren't a sacking club. A little bit like United and some of us, they don't want to sack a manager. But do you think it could get untenable if the next two games, they lose the next two games or something like that, or they're just sticking with it? No, I've what I do is try and speak to the. I don't speak to the manager. I don't speak to Ole. I don't speak to the coaches. I don't speak to the players. But I do try and speak. You try and speak to sort of people at the club and say that where are the club at? You know, you hear it in the media. You've heard it over the last 24 hours. The club are absolutely unequivocal in the support for Ole. They're absolutely going to support him. They're absolutely going to go through what will be these difficult moments. Let him sort of carry on getting and building this team together. Which, to be fair, there is 3 or 4 new players in. He asked me what could become untenable. The only thing in football now, I think, that comes untenable is the results get that bad to a point whereby it just becomes like a nightmare situation. But I don't think it will. The other thing is if the big players kick off. That's always a problem for a manager in the dressing room. If the big players kick off, but I don't think that's going to happen either. I think.
Okay, right. So that point there, he's made 2 points there, Gary. Really, he's kind of saying, as I said, I can see. If I was Gary Neville, I'd be struggling as much as he is on national TV to try and articulate my arguments about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer without shouting Ole out, because there's part of me that is Ole out, man. There's part of everybody, I believe. There's part of every single United fan, whether it's 2%, 5%, or for a lot of people, 100%, that is Ole out, that feels that we can't go any further. And the longer this stretch goes on, the bigger my percentage, the bigger the scales shift inside of me. I haven't got a set of scales inside of me, just to let you know. Speaking hypothetically. But what Neville's saying there, do you think that there is a chance that... So he's talking about the big players. So big players, Manchester United, we're talking Ronaldo, top of the tree. We're talking probably about Cavani, maybe. I mean, in terms of personality that can really, really affect the dressing room. I think Jadon Sancho could kick off, but what's Jadon Sancho really going to change in that dressing room at the moment? You're talking probably about David De Gea. You're talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. You're talking about Edinson Cavani, and you're talking about probably Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane. I would say they're probably the 5 biggest influences inside that dressing room right now. Do you think there's any chance that those players do start to turn? Because under Jose Mourinho, we know that the squad started to turn. It started to get toxic inside that dressing room. Remember, who was it under? Was it under Moyes, I think, when the team was getting leaked every single goddamn week? It was happening quite recently, actually, with Solskjaer too. Pogba, apologies about that. Of course, Pogba's one of the big. You got six players inside that dressing room, really, who I think can affect the direction that dressing room goes in. Do you think they're going to be turning on Solskjaer? Of all of them, and I don't mean this because I think he's any worse than all the other players, or I think he's a worse influence. I think Paul Pogba is probably the player out of all of them who can influence it the most. And the reason I say that is because Paul Pogba is at a crossroads in his Manchester United career. He in January, he can speak to other clubs. He's the closest to that exit door. So he's the most likely to have at least part of his mind outside of the club, more so than, of course, Bruno Fernandes inside that dressing room. Jesus Christ, there are quite a lot of massive characters inside that dressing room now. It's what we wanted, right? We've been crying out for these leaders and characters and personalities in the dressing room. We've just said 7 of them there. David De Gea, Harry Maguire, Raphael Varane, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Edinson Cavani, and Cristiano Ronaldo. 7 huge footballing personalities inside that dressing room. I'll be honest, I'm not surprised that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is struggling to maintain those personalities, to keep those personalities happy. But at the same time, it's all reflective of football. It's all reflective of results. You saw how beaming Cristiano Ronaldo was after he scored 2 against Newcastle. What was different about that? We won. Ronaldo likes winning. His diet is water, not Coke, and winning. And at the moment, he's not getting that Manchester United. So, of course, he's going to be frustrated. And I've said it yesterday. I might do a full video. Let me know in the comments. Type yes or no now if you want. Whether you want me to do a video on Ronaldo, because he is definitely... He's a problem. He's not the problem. But he's on top of all the other problems that we've got. How could you ignore the problem of Ronaldo? Does that take priority over the other issues? Ronaldo isn't the problem. He's part of the symptomatic issues that we have. And because he came in, as I said before, you're looking at Harry Maguire, you're looking at Raphael Varane, you're looking at Sancho, you're looking at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you're looking at any player, Cavani, that Solskjaer has signed. Cavani a bit different, actually. We signed him on deadline day, given that he was a fucking free transfer all summer. But they all fit a system. They all fit a style, I believe, that we were building towards. And then Ronaldo came in. Ronaldo was an opportunity which we took. I've been told that we were asking after Ronaldo at the start of the summer, and that we basically waited for City to bite before we jumped in. Whether you believe that or not, I'm not really sure I do at this point. But I'm not really sure what's look. I'm going to do my Atalanta starting 11 today, and I'm going to speak about what I think needs to change inside that team. And unfortunately, now we've reached a point, right, where Manchester United are going to have to take it back to the cliches, because we are not doing the utter basics properly. I'm talking about defensive shape in possession, the whole line coming out together, the midfield pressing, the utter basics. Honestly, we've got to go to football for dummies in how we're approaching these next two games, because it is a work rate issue. And that's why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has trusted Fred and McTominay so much more by comparison. Like them or lump them, Fred and McTominay will cover so much more ground than Pogba and Matic will. Even if they are limited by comparison in their ability to bring it forward, they cover the ground in the middle. And if you're not doing the basics, as we saw against Leicester, it's very fucking easy to play against United. Or I want to have the club to have a clear direction before sacking Ole. Every time we have a reset, we fall behind. Continuity, is important. Build on the momentum. Very good comment there, Or. And I completely agree. I mean, as I said, I believe that's why John Murtough, that's why I said it's a bit different this time with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It was a bit different compared to when we sacked Moyes, Van Gaal, and Mourinho, and the U-turns that we did. There should be some sort of continuity and direction, that whoever comes in after Solskjaer will be given the same plan. We'll say, look, right, the direction of the club hasn't changed. This is where we're going. This is how we want to get there. These are the types of players we want to get there. And the reason we brought you in as a manager is because you fit these attributes, rather than going from Fergie's recommendation to a 70-year-old experienced World Cup manager to Jose Mourinho ball to a manager learning on the job, who knew the fundamentals of what it meant to be Manchester United. Hugely different managerial styles, hugely different squads. And it's why it's taken so long to clear it all out. But now we've got that squad, We've got that squad. We need to have the manager to take advantage of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here. Stefan, you're saying that is absolutely right, Sam. The direction must be clear. If Ole is sacked, someone who works in the same direction must follow. And that's the one thing that we failed to do after Moyes, failed to do after Van Gaal and Mourinho, and we cannot fail to do it after Solskjaer. So, and that for me is the only argument that I need to have about Conte. I do not give a shit that he won Serie A with Inter. I do not give a shit that they had the best defense in the league and they scored the second most goals. I do not care. Antonio Conte is a massive U-turn from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. As personalities, as managers, and I'm not talking about style, because let's be honest, Solskjaer doesn't have a particular style. So that's my only argument that I need to have about Conte. He doesn't. If we do that, it's another huge handbrake for United, and I don't want to have another handbrake. Let's go up here. That squad is 2 players short of really challenging 2 top midfielders. Rebuild that midfield. I mean, Jonathan, I'm not sure you're talking about rebuilding the midfield. It's more like building the midfield. We haven't rebuilt it since really Carragher went. We've had Schneidlin. We've had, oh my God, no, I'm going to make myself sad thinking about all the crappy midfielders we've had. I know what we've done. Now we've seen Phil Jones play there. We've seen Schneidlin. We've seen Schweinsteiger. We've seen Herrera, who was probably the best of the bunch. We have Fellaini. We've had Cleverley. Now we've got Fred. We've got McTominay. We've got Paul Pogba that we thought, finally we're going on the right direction, but he's never had the right partner to cover for the weaknesses inside his game. And we know that. And Matic just doesn't have the legs to cover it either. You basically need a Kante type player who constantly runs to play alongside Paul Pogba to cover for the deficiencies. Chris, you're saying Conte would win us the league, though. But that's what I'm saying. It's not that I don't want United to win the league. But if Conte comes in, we turn into Chelsea. And we turn into a situation where a manager comes in. It can work for a year or two. Before TNT happens, it explodes and another manager comes in. And the transition and the cycle of that continues. I'm sorry. That works at Chelsea. And I'm pretty sure that is the only club in the world that would work at. You can argue it works at Real Madrid. Has it? Has it really worked at Real Madrid? I mean, amount of money, amount of players that they've gone through, amount of managers they've gone through. Chelsea's business model is something that nobody else can achieve. And I don't think we should be aspiring towards it. And that's why I'm saying I don't want Conte, because I see it as another massive U-turn from Solskjaer. And I don't particularly think that Manchester United as a football club can afford another U-turn. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be interested here. Who would you consider a manager in world football that would be available potentially? You can't just say whoever you want. That wouldn't be a U-turn from Solskjaer. Someone you feel that would be a similar type of manager to Solskjaer, but somebody you feel would be more qualified to do the job. I'll be interested to know what you think about that in the comments below. And Victor, I'll be honest, mate, this is part of the problem. What you're saying here, I take Conte, I don't care. We can rebuild again. No, absolutely fucking not. That is the problem right there, my friend. Is that a lot of United fans are doing that and saying that. Oh, I don't care, win the league. Nah, mate, Liverpool didn't win the league for 30 years. 30. You think it's bad after 8? How about you go another 2 decades and see how happy you are then, Victor? It's not about winning the league next year. It's not about just winning the league. It's about doing it in the right way that's sustainable, that we can. It's very fucking. Ask Liverpool last year how hard it is to retain the title. We won it 3 times in a row. Twice. Because we had that. I'm going down here and I'm seeing the comments. Lots of you are saying that Zidane has a lot of quality. Ten Hag's name coming up. Hey, Steve Bruce might be available. No, thank you. Ten Hag. Luis Enrique, someone saying Brendan Rodgers, Potter. I mean, Graham Potter's obviously done a fantastic job at Brighton, but I do not believe that Manchester United would take any sort of risk on that. Conte left Chelsea because he fell out with Roma, and he left Inter because the owners didn't support him. I don't care about. I do not care. I'll reiterate one more time. I do not care. Conte does not fit this direction that we have for the last 3 years. Finally had a direction behind it. Yeah, we haven't got direction on the pitch, but I'm going to have to do a video on it, and I'm going to have to do all the research because I want to. People are just looking at how bad we are on the pitch right now and just saying, oh, there's been no progress whatsoever. Whereas so much work has happened behind the scenes. So much that you're just willing to throw away and just bring Conte in because you might win the league next year. Fuck me. Mental. I'm sorry. It's mental. Going down to the comments here, might as well get Chris Wilder. Hey, well, let's get Chris Wilder and Steve Bruce in. Julian Nagelsmann saying Matty. Rodgers says Benny. I mean, Rodgers obviously has done a decent job at Celtic. Rodgers is a good manager. Let's not try and be rude about that anymore. It was bang average at Liverpool, did a really good job at Celtic, and has done a very good job at Leicester. Sam, I'll say it's about protection. The club is what you protect. I guess you're talking there about Gary Neville. If we're talking about Zidane and we're talking about... who's the other one? Conte, of course. I'm just blocking him from my mind. As of today, this has just come from yesterday from Romano saying, as of today, there is no contact between Manchester United and Zinedine Zidane or Antonio Conte. However, neither manager would turn down the job if they were offered it. Everything you're seeing at the moment is that Manchester United simply have not contacted anybody. Have not contacted anyone. So no matter how excited you are about the idea of it, I just don't think it's going to happen. Or what are you saying? A Ten Hag, obviously from Ajax, plays exciting football, plays youth, a forward-thinking manager, adapts and doesn't play one game plan and he'll play Donny. See, you're being biased towards Donny there. You do love Donny. I love Donny. But R.I.P. Donny. What if Donny will outlast Solskjaer? Nick. This is an excellent comment, Nick. Thank you for this. The team went for instant gratification with the signings this year, so you can't blame everyone for doing the same. You know what, Nick? I cannot. And that is honestly one of the most spot-on comments that I've seen here, so thank you very much for that, Nick. If I could double like it, I would. When Manchester United signed Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho, and Cristiano Ronaldo, there was a new expectation that came in. It was more Ronaldo than anything else. Because we signed Ronaldo, it all changed. It all changed. All of a sudden, we were with Varane and Sancho, we were sitting there going, the squad's quite good, but we haven't got a midfielder. We signed Ronaldo. We're like, well, fuck that. We're winning it all. We are winning it all this year. Ladies and gentlemen, get your suit out. Get it pressed. We are going on a parade in May. And I can't blame them. Because I was semi like that. Of course you are. You just re-signed Cristiano Ronaldo. So because of that, the time period for patience got dramatically reduced. And I think you're absolutely spot on there. And okay, I'm sorry. I can't begrudge a lot of you for your feelings and why things are getting a little bit more toxic and a little bit, I would say, nasty quicker. Because the expectations of that have been changed by the signings the club has made. That I cannot disagree with. And if anything, signing Ronaldo doesn't make your job harder, right? It does not. But it certainly put an extra level of pressure on Solskjaer that maybe so far he hasn't been able to cope with. I don't think he has. And how you doing here, buddy? We have to factor in who we would want to join us too. Who would want to join us too? We have become a hire and fire club, and the pressure is immense. What manager wants to be set up to fail? And I'll be honest, I completely disagree with that comment. Any manager in world football would get a rock hard on at the idea of signing for a club that has Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Mason Greenwood, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, David. Do I have to go on? Any club would get a rock hard on for that. It doesn't matter if we're a hire and fire. That is modern football. Modern football is a hire and fire mentality. Chelsea came in and really basically fucked it up for everyone in the Premier League. They came in with Roman Abramovich. They came in with the oil money. That was the first club that they were the first club that did it. And they came in with such a ruthless oligarch approach to them. You're being shit. Boom, out you go. We'll just get another one in. Boom, out you go. We'll get another one in. Di Matteo, you win that. Out you go. We get another one in. It works at Chelsea, man, but it would not work anywhere else. So for the life of me, please don't ask Manchester United to turn into Chelsea. I will never, ever, ever, ever support that. Let's have a look down here. Please get these clueless owners and board members out, says Ismail. Well, you're preaching to the choir there because, well, fuck the Glazers. It's something I've argued for a long, long time. A long, long time. But I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Not really. Sydney saying a protest before the Liverpool game is what we need. What would take to get him out? Trust me, minus the top Reds who suck him off every chance they get. Of course, I know the majority of fans that go to the games want him go. No, Sydney, they don't. They don't. The feeling inside Old Trafford is always very, very different to online. As I said, it comes down to a massive. I'm sorry, it's not top red. It's not fucking top red, but it's a massive sense of entitlement that people get angry when you call them out for it. But it's completely true. Cool, you want to get Conte in next year because we might win the league, and then Conte pisses off after 18 months, and we're back to square fucking one again. Doesn't matter though. You'd have a title in between because you'd have that. You would personally have that moment to celebrate, to go out and have a drink because your team's won the league, but you don't care that the club would then probably be in a worse situation when the manager leaves and the whole squad gets shuffled everywhere. But it doesn't matter for you. You won the league. Now you can brag about it. Buzzing. No, I don't want that for Man United. I want Man United to win the league. Hell yeah, I do. But I want Man United to win the league at the end of a plan rather than being 4 steps up the ladder, jumping off that ladder and starting again on another fucking ladder. We've done that ever since we fucking sacked Fergie, man, and it hasn't worked. I'm just stuck. I'm a bit stuck. Let's go down here. It works for Real Madrid and it works for Chelsea and many others. We are too busy talking. We should talk about how we will win the Conte was a blah, 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 blah. No. Chelsea do okay with the hiring and firing. If you want that, Stamford Bridge is just down the road. Go there. Simple as that. I don't need to justify that opinion. Rory, you're saying, what plan, bro? It's Ole has no plan. Clearly, I'm not just talking about what we're seeing on the pitch. Nobody can argue with the fact that Manchester United, over the last 2 to 3 years, behind the scenes, have caught up, have covered in terms of the structure that we've got. Edward was gone. We've got John Murtough in as director of football. We've got technical director in Darren Fletcher. The academy over the last 3 years has dramatically improved and closed that gap that we had between us and City after City ended up dominating Manchester. Commercially, we're fucked, and that's why Edward has been sacked. You know, we've been stagnating for 3 or 4 years now, but I don't really care about that. As long as you, I suppose, make the signings. I don't really care about that side of the club. But on the pitch, yeah, we still haven't modernized. We still haven't caught up. We've got the squad now. We've had the investment, but the football's still not there. And for a lot of people, nothing else matters. All I care about is what those 11 players are doing on the pitch and where Manchester United are in that league. I'm different. I want to see everything at Manchester United as a full football club running properly. And I think that has improved quite a lot over the last 3 years. And I won't be told otherwise. Surav saying, really don't understand why we're even talking about it. The man has been under sack squad since he took over the job. Now, when his back's on the wall, I'd stick to him. He's done enough to trust. So, Surav, I would probably disagree with that comment there because I'm not gonna blindly say, nah, let's just support Solskjaer and just cross your fingers and hope it works out. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I swear to God, if Man United lose to Atalanta, that feeling's gonna be like a tsunami. And then that's in the build up to the Liverpool game. No doubt we'll turn up against Liverpool. I don't think we'll get overrun in the same way that we did against Leicester. It'll be at Old Trafford. That will suit United. The crowd will definitely G the players up. We'll definitely fucking start Freddie McTominay. That's for sure. But Atalanta, I don't know. Hell, let's see what goes on this week. 2 big performances, 2 big results. Maybe conversations can change. But I don't personally think it will really. The most important thing, says Orr, the most important signing we needed after Fergie retired was a director of football. No one at the helm to steer the ship. Too many captains with different ideas. And I'll tell you what, every single fan right now feels like a bit of a captain. Trying to say what they feel is best for Manchester United. But yeah, as I said, there's this short-termism thought process. It seems to be infectious. It's really taking over. And I don't know whether it's just because obviously I'm on social media all day. I see it more. I'm inside it more. And it would be different if I was in Manchester and the feeling in and around the club there. But don't know, man. It's starting to get quite exhausting speaking to a lot of United fans. Not saying all of you. Some of you it is. Rory, you're saying Fletcher and Murtough are not the change we needed. I'm sorry, Sam. The club will never change the way you want it to until the Yanks leave, and they won't until the club collapses completely. I mean, Rory, again, I disagree. How can you say that Fletcher and Murtough were not the change that we needed? We needed a structure change inside the club, and we changed part of it. And I've seen nothing so far that suggests that John Murtough has actually done a bad job. In the summer, we got the signings we wanted. John Murtough was involved in that. He directed that. The football itself is not John Murtough's responsibility. How everything runs behind the scenes is. And as far as we can see, as far as we know, he's doing a good job. So I would disagree on that. And yeah, of course, nothing's going to really change until the Glazers sell. But in the same way, who would then replace the Glazers? Would they want the same thing? You're rarely going to get an owner like Roman Abramovich. Really? That guy just pumps money in. Doesn't really care. That guy genuinely wants to win. That's the difference with Roman Abramovich. He's not just about making money. He's about titles and silverware as well. which is very rare, I would say, in terms of owners. And that is why things are different at Chelsea to anyone else. You're disagreeing with everything, and yet you're speaking without context, says Sean. Well, thank you for adding context there by adding absolutely no context. How can you expect Ole to do the job when he's getting so much negativity towards him for so long? That comes with the territory, man. I'm not going to have any sympathy for Solskjaer in that respect, because when you're Manchester United manager, when you're a Manchester United player, expect the media scrutiny to be more intense. Expect everything to be more intense. Expect the pressures to be more intense because you are Manchester United. We dominated the league for 20 years. For 20 years, people had to stare at our coattails and go, oh, for fuck's sake, Fergie's done it again. What a dick. And now we're falling. And I do not blame any fan or the media, really, for turning against us and using us in that sense. So I don't think Solskjaer can really be surprised at that. I don't think any United fan can really be massively surprised at that either. Let's go up here. If you don't sack him, you just wasted money, and you sack him and you went out of the Champions League. I don't even know what that comment says. Sorry, that English was not good. I think top 4 in Champions League are probably the only things that are really going to get Solskjaer. That's what I would probably argue. The Atalanta game is just as important as the Liverpool game. Win there against Atalanta. What's the Champions League group? Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure what we're on 4 points. UEFA Champions League. I'm guessing Atalanta on the same. On the same? The tables. Where are we? Down there. Oh, Jesus. We're on 3 points. Of course, we lost against Young Boys. Jeez. Put that game out of my mind. So, this is the group right now in the Champions League going for Wednesday. And Atalanta currently top on 4 points. Young Boys ahead of us on goal difference alone. And we're there with 3 points. Manchester United need to beat Atalanta, right? Because even if we beat Atalanta, we go away to Atalanta a week later, knowing that losing there, and they jump ahead of us in the table. That is a must-win game for United. My word. And that's going to be something that massively changes whether Solskjaer is safe or not. Our qualification in the Champions League, because that's where the money is. And we know that's what the Glazers' strategy always has been. This summer, they changed it. This summer was a diversion away from the normal strategy for the Glazers. They actually invested big. And if they go and invest big and then all of a sudden we don't qualify, they're going to be fuming. Gary Cole, genuine question. What is your solution, Sam? We've heard all the opinions you disagree with. So what's your answer to how we improve? Now, Gary, this is the part I'm struggling with at the moment because I put so much emphasis on Matic and Pogba coming into midfield and that giving us the balance that we needed and the shape from it that can change it. And then we saw what Matic and Pogba did against Leicester. So I now don't know. Internally, something has to completely and utterly give. Something that I found very interesting, actually, leading on from your point there. We all speak about the coaches, right, at Manchester United and how we feel that they're just not good enough. They are just not good enough. Now, this is coming from Andy Mitten. Whether or not you want to think like this as a bit of PR guff or whether you want to take this as a bit of a truth, that's completely up to you. This is what Andy Mitten is saying about the coaching staff at Manchester United. Those coaches and those working with the first team are grafting their backsides off to improve Man United, often to the detriment of their family, lives, health, and social lives. I consistently get told that the players respect them, their knowledge, compassion, drive, hunger, professionalism, and talent. Sorry, Andy, but the proof is most definitely in the pudding when it comes to Manchester United's coaching. And what we saw, especially against Leicester, was a team that just did not look coached properly. Even if Harry Maguire was fit, or it doesn't really matter that much. I'm not seeing any evidence to support the fact that our coaches are grafting. I mean, yeah, you can graft your back. There's working hard and there's working smart. You can work hard if you want, but if you're shit at what you're doing, then you're not going to get anywhere, right? And Andy Minton saying that I consistently get told that the players respect them, their knowledge, compassion, drive, hunger, professionalism, and talent. None of us are seeing that on the pitch. And apparently they were pissed off at the fact they didn't get any credit for the goal we scored against Everton from a corner, and Villarreal. Was it Villarreal when Tellez got the banger in? I find it strange. I find it odd. For me, the solution is obvious. The solution would be, if you're not sacking Solskjaer anyway, the solution would be to replace the coaches. In fact, it's not just a case of replacing coaches. You can have as many goddamn coaches at the club as you want. It's not as if you're in a coaching transfer window and you got to wait until January to bring in someone behind the scenes to improve your club. Manchester United could right now look, even if you wanted to stick to the fact that this is going to be an old boys game, you've got Carragher in there. Fuck, bring Rio Ferdinand in. You're telling me he couldn't do a job with helping the defensive shape and the discipline? Of course, we have no real defensive coach inside that club. But then I'm looking at Michael Carrick and Darren Fletcher, who were two midfielders I massively admired at Manchester United. And have they really changed our midfield? No. So maybe Rio Ferdinand would be the same thing. Maybe that's the problem. We're only looking towards an old boys club and we're not actually bringing us in any sort of quality that we need. For me, yeah, if I'm looking at a solution that doesn't involve sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the only place I can now look is the coaches. And is that me just looking everywhere and ignoring the elephant in the room? I know a lot of you will think that. And fair enough if you do. That's your opinion. People there saying old boys club, that's the problem. And Rory, you're asking, why do I think Ole won't bring in proper coaches? I think that's where the positives of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's personality are becoming the negatives. I think he's a very likable, approachable individual, but I think he's really struggling to pull someone aside. That's what I'm saying. Have you ever had a manager in your life, in any job you've had, that you've really, really fucking liked? You've really got along with, you admire him, but you sort of, or her, but you admire them so much and you have such a good relationship with them that the lines between being a manager and being a co-worker sort of blend in a little bit, to the point that when a manager would try and point out things that you aren't doing properly, you might then turn around and go, huh? Well, why are you saying that for? Why am I going to listen to you now? I feel that is a situation that he's got himself into with Phelan, with Carrick, with McKenna, that he almost doesn't have the internal authority or the self-belief in himself to go over and say, look, Carrick, you're not doing it enough. Because Solskjaer is not a coach. I know Fergie wasn't a coach, but Fergie was the greatest manager of all time. So I don't really think that's a completely fair comparison. Victor him saying that Sam loves Ole. Well, I loved him as a player. I don't really love him as a manager. The games we have lost to lesser teams, it's really poor. Ole needs to go if that continues. No, it's not just about the lesser game. It's about the bigger games. It's about every game. It's reached a point now, right? This is the complete truth. It's now reached a point where it's not about results. It is not about results. We've had the late winners against West Ham and the late winners against Villarreal, and ultimately the late winners are the drugs of football, and I wish I could have them every week. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now needs performances. Performances now are just as important as results. It's reached that stage, in my opinion. I don't think people would just take a 1-0 gritty win, 1-0, defend well, keep that clean sheet. I don't think people will be happy with it. That won't change the mind of United fans. And that's what I mean about this self-entitlement. If United went and won the next few games 1-0, that wouldn't be enough for United, for a lot of United fans. They want like 3, 4, smashing it, going out. Even at this point where we're really backs against the wall, those 1-0 wins wouldn't be good enough, in my opinion. Or an analogy they say is don't do business with friends. It's tough. As I said, once you blend those lines, your position as a manager, you sort of undermine yourself because you're stuck with that friendship, and that's why Gary Neville is struggling in punditry right now, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being the man whose head is on the block. It's easier to do it with Jose Mourinho. It's easier to do it with Louis van Gaal, and it's easier to do it with David Moyes. It's harder to do it with your friend. Sam, how many team will hire Ole if he's fired for Manchester United? Says Mo. I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. I don't think Solskjaer would struggle to get a top job, and I think you might all disagree with me, but I don't think you can't prove it. It's a hypothetical situation, so there's no point laughing at anybody. But I just don't think that Solskjaer would struggle because he's had the experience in Manchester United. There'll be plenty of teams that would take him. Plenty. Tom, you're saying, Sam, if Ole or Carragher don't feel they have the bottle to drop players or bollock them, then get Roy Keane in. He doesn't take any crap. Tom, I swear to God, I'm seeing people saying bring Roy Keane in as manager. And I want to throw my head through this camera because I don't think they're being sarcastic. They genuinely think, Roy Keane, bring Roy Keane in. That'll improve and help Manchester United. Are you mad? Plus, Roy Keane will come nowhere near back at Manchester United whilst Fergie's still sitting in the crowd. So you can get the idea of Roy Keane coming out of anywhere. Let's go here. I don't want Conte as manager, says JD Soul. I don't like his style of playing, his tactics. If Ole goes, I would give Van der Beek 10 starts of every game. Again, that made no sense. I mate Roy Keane. Roy Keane ain't happening, baby. Roy Keane ain't happening, baby. Hakuna Matata is begging to be a mod. Or maybe if you join as a member and you get involved and you prove yourself, then you can. Well, there's plenty of room in the mod gang. Well, it's a bit mad in the mod gang. Hey, look, if you would like to join as a member, join Rory, who's rejoined today. Nice to see you again, Rory. Hit the join button down below next to the subscribe button. There's a link in the description, and there's a link on Facebook too. I'd love to have you involved. There's a WhatsApp group for members. There's a private Facebook group as well. I can't get notifications from that. It's really pissing me off. So if I miss conversations, I apologize. But join the WhatsApp group. I'm in there. There's plenty of stuff. I'd love to have you, as many of you, in as members. But look, this it's a tough time for Manchester United. It's a tough time for me having to defend myself. I feel myself coming out of my shell a little bit at the moment. I've always maintained a level of objectivity with the way I present, the way I speak about United. I don't try and force my opinion down your throat. I try and present facts, and then we can have a debate. I try and be the middleman. But what I'm feeling now, everything that's going on in the last week or two, I'm starting to really come out of it a bit and sort of move to one side. I don't mean to, but it's just happening. It's just happening. And this is the most split. This is the biggest split I've seen in Manchester United fans. And I remember Mourinho. I remember Van Gaal. With Van Gaal, it wasn't really a split. There was some that felt he was being disrespected, and he absolutely got disrespected to be sacked after that. Like Woodward, he's a fucking idiot for doing that. But with Mourinho, it wasn't a case of heart or head. It was just a case of pure head. It's just how quickly you got there. And that's what I mean when I'm saying here. Oh, it's a tough time for United. It's a tough time for all our fans. It's a tough time for Solskjaer. Look, if you're Ole out, I understand it, man. Stay in the comments. Let's have a debate about it. Just don't come at me with just like statements that you don't want me to speak about, I suppose. Context is everything, as someone said in a comment earlier. But look, thank you very much for joining me this morning. These are some seriously interesting and spicy live chats at the moment. I'll be here tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. I'll be back here hopefully at 1 p.m. with my starting 11 for Atalanta. Will Freddie McTominay come back in? Will Pogba start? What about Cavani? Should he come in for Ronaldo? Lots of questions. Will Varane be fit? Even more questions. Make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe to United People's TV. And as I said, if you'd like to join in as a member, I'd love to have you on board. This is going to continue to be a pretty busy and very, very interesting and fucking tough couple of weeks for Manchester United coming up. Take it easy.